Eddie Hearn has added Kubrat Pulev to the list of potential opponents for Joshua's last fight this year. I believe Joseph Parker is the mandatory, but they're talking about Kubrat Pulev, Joseph Parker. Stiverne was called out by Joshua himself, saying he was skillful and durable. So, there's a few guys in the hat. Stiverne says he's actually in camp, waiting for Anthony Joshua. He has started a training camp for Anthony Joshua. It's a bit presumptuous, but he will need all that training if he's to get anything. Even give Joshua a decent fight, he will need all that preparation and conditioning. He will need it. Manny Pacquiao is to return to the ring in autumn, claims Bob Arum. Broner apparently wanted 10 mil. Bob doesn't want to pay up. People are saying that Broner priced himself out. I can't really swing with Broner. Nobody's really demanded this fight, you know. Broner hasn't really been setting boxing alight where people are touting him to getting big multi-million dollar paydays. And I guess guys like Chris Eubank and Broner, they have high opinions of themselves, which they should do. They also have to realize that the big multi-million purses are not just randomly given out like that. They're not. Sometimes you have to work hard for it, like Method Man said. And I'm not saying they haven't worked hard for it, but you have to look at both their resumes and ask, can they just demand 4 million for Eubank, 10 million for Broner like that? And you have to say no. I'm not saying they're incapable of getting it. No, I'm not saying that. But just to demand it like that and expect it like that, not sure. But they have to do what they feel is right when negotiating their careers. Broner was saying how he wouldn't sell out like Brook for the money that Brook would be getting against Triple G. He's saying he sold out, but Broner said or implied that he will only fight fights that are reasonable, entertaining fights, competitive fights, but not total mismatches, which is what he's implying Brook and Triple G is. I'm trying to remember what he said. Did he say promoters will get you killed in there, or boxers will get themselves killed in there, taking on fights like that? And I suppose you could throw Khan and Canelo in that same category. In the UK, I saw a poll, and they're actually giving Kell Brook more chance of beating Triple G than Jazza Dickens has of beating Guillermo Rigondeaux. They could be onto something there. I'd like to know your opinions. And you could throw Liam Smith into this poll. Who has more chance of gaining a victory? Liam Smith against Canelo, Jazza versus Rigo, or Kell versus Gennady Golovkin? Miguel Cotto. He'll be back this year, according to Box Nation. In the next few weeks, an opponent should be announced. And it would be good to see him back. He's not fighting very often recently, but he's an aging fighter, so he's picking his spots, so to speak. Leo Santa Cruz says he will move to 140 if he gets past Carl Frampton. He said he's got to be wary of the threat of Carl Frampton. He said he can go all the way up to 140. Obviously, I think he's going to go through the other weight classes, but he says he can go all the way up to 140. Well, if you can do all that, you should be able to fight Rigondeaux. Rauhsee Warren could take on Jamie McDonnell. Rauhsee Warren is the bantamweight champion, the super WBA bantamweight champion, not the super bantamweight. You see how it could get confusing with all these derivatives of champion. And Jamie McDonnell is the regular champion. They could be getting down this year. That could possibly happen this year. I am wary of calling these bouts unification bouts. How can they be unification bouts? You should only have one champion per division. It would be a unification bout with another organization, in my opinion. I don't know, Could be an interesting fight. I've heard Mikey Garcia saying he's prepared to come to the UK and fight the likes of Terry Flanagan and Anthony Crolla. So the fighters across the pond are willing to come to the UK because they know they're going to get paid. The UK is on a little bit of a resurgence in the fight game. So I could possibly see the Rauhsee Warren Jamie McDonnell fight taking place in the UK. I could see that. Last bit of news is in the heavyweight division. Erkan Tepe is based in Germany. Okay? I believe he's Turkish, but he's based in Germany. So he got busted for juicing against David Price. The result still stands for some reason. It's not being reversed into a no contest or anything. And what's more confusing is he was able to come back before his ban, his 2-year ban, was finished. He comes back less than 6 months later in the same country and takes on Derek Rossi, because the ban is only applicable if it's an EBU sanctioned bout. Germany allowed the bout to be sanctioned, but yet they're under jurisdiction of the EBU. How does that make any sense? If the countries under your jurisdiction are not going to follow your reprimands, how does that make any sense at all?